last time in science we saw the excretory system in plants. They don't have any special organs. So they have to, whatever the waste material is there from the produced during the photosynthesis, during the respiration and during the building up of the plant bodies, that waste should be removed out of the, what you call it, as the plants. So they don't have special organs for that. So they have different strategies there in plants. With the help of that, they can remove the waste. That is, one is the stomata, another is the cell wall of the roots, and another is a vacuole, the barks of the trees. These are and the shedding of the leaves. These are some different strategies used by plants to remove the waste matter. Similarly, in excretory system in human beings, if you see, what is the excretory system or what is excretion? Removal of waste from the body. Removal of the waste matter from the body is called as excretion. So, in human beings, we have special system for removing the waste matter, and that is called as excretory system. Okay. Now, excretory system is one thing only will come into your mind, oh, kidney. But before I go to kidney and explain you, there are other excretory organs also in our body, which is removing the waste matter from our body. The first thing is your lungs. Respiration. Okay. What is respiration? The fresh air is taken from the nose. It enters into the lungs. It goes into the alveoli. There what happens, alveoli are connected with the blood vessels. So there exchange of gases takes place. I told you when alveoli is an air sac. When air sac is filled with air, it gets expanded. Due to that, the diaphragm will move downward and the chest will move forward. So place will be there for the exchange of gases. So oxygen is given to the blood, and from the blood carbon dioxide is taken by the alveoli. That carbon dioxide is the waste. It should not remain in our body. So the lung throws out the carbon dioxide. That is a respiratory waste. The respiratory waste is thrown out by the lungs in the form of carbon dioxide. Then the skin. You know that skin, sweat glands is there in our skin, in the upper layer, and hairs are also there on the skin. The hairs protects our skin from what you call it as the heat of the sun. Okay, and sweat glands are there. What is sweat glands will do? Whatever the extra salt which is produced in our body with the water content, it will what you call it as, it will make that extra salt in the form of salt solution to move out of our skin, because skin has small pores. Through that, what will happen? That salt will be thrown out in the form of the sweat. Okay. Then the liver. Liver, I told you, is very helpful in the digestion. Bile juice is produced by the liver. Okay. So sometimes with the food or through what to call it as through drinking some juices or something, what may happen is that some toxic materials will enter into our body, and that toxic substances should not be there in our body. The liver will help. That is, whatever the bile juice will be produced by the liver, it will see that the toxins are completely, what will happen is completely degraded into what you call it as so that they cannot react in our body. So that is what the liver will remove the toxins. Large intestine, as I have told you, is a very important what you call it as organ in the digestive system. In the small intestine, almost every thing of the food will be digested. Some part of the food remains undigested because that part of the food cannot be digested either by any juices produced in the stomach or produced in the small intestine. So that remains the undigested like that only. So when it enters in the small, large intestine, the water whatever is there in that food is absorbed by the walls of the large intestine. So the hard material will be left out, and that should not stay in our body because it is unwanted. So that is what you call it as the waste. What is that waste? It is bilirubin waste, we call it as. Why bilirubin? Because if you see that is little bit brownish in color. So bilirubin is a bile juice which is produced from the liver that will mix with this waste, and that waste is thrown out by the large intestine. So we human beings, not only the kidney, the human beings have what you call it as other excretory organs are there. Lungs, skin, liver and large intestine. Let us now see in detail excretion in human body. So what are the excretion, how it helps how it takes place in the human body. So some major components are there which are involved in excretion in human body. First one is pairs of kidney. We have two kidneys. Pairs of ureters. This I will explain to you in detail afterwards. Urinary bladder, urethra. These are the main components in the excretory system of human being. So which are the main components? Pairs of kidney, pairs of ureters, urinary bladder and urethra. So pairs means two kidneys are there. And pairs of ureters means from the kidney whatever the waste is produced, from both the kidney that waste should be thrown out. So there are two ureters. A tube-like structure will carry out that waste and it will make it to move into the urinary bladder, and from the urinary bladder it is removed through urethra. So this is pair. Why pair? Means in our body two kidneys are there. So naturally two ureters should be there. Now let us see regarding the kidney. Okay, if you see the kidney and if you try to see the shape of the kidney, and you will find that it is the shape like a bean. Okay, so and where are this kidney located? On the either side of your backbone, on the either side the kidney is located. So the kidney is what you call it as protected by your backbone, and muscles are there which will protect the kidney. How lungs and heart is protected by the rib cage which is in the chest cavity. At the back also we have what you call it as vertebrates and ribs are also there. No, so that the backbone protects the kidney and muscles which are there will protect the kidney. So kidney is what? It is the shape of a bean. Where it is located? Either side of the backbone. Now, so this is what regarding the kidney. Next is structure of kidney which I will explain you afterwards. Looking at the diagram, I will explain each part which is there in the kidney. So once again, let's just revise. That is excretory system in human. Excretion means what? Removal of waste from the human body is called as excretion. So excretion means what? Removal of waste from the human body or from any living organism is called as excretion. That waste can be having the what you call it? It can be a nitrogenous waste, it can be uric acid, or it can be urea, it can be creatine or carbon dioxide gas, whatever it may be. These some waste which are not required by our body, which will be thrown out, that we call it as excretion. Leaving kidney, there are other excretory organs also in our body. Okay, only kidney cannot remove all the waste materials which is there. So some other waste materials are also removed by the excretory organs. The first one will take the lungs. So it removes the respiratory waste. Which is the respiratory waste? The carbon dioxide. When in the alveoli which is present in the lungs, it is connected with the capillaries. So what happens? In the blood, whatever the carbon dioxide is there will be absorbed by the walls of the alveoli, and in turn the oxygen which is there in the alveoli will be absorbed by the walls of the capillaries. So exchange of gases takes place where carbon dioxide is the unwanted waste which should not stay in our body. So the lungs is removing your respiratory waste which is called as carbon dioxide. Next is your skin. Skin, it is a covering of the body which has hairs also, and it has small pores, and along with that it has a sweat gland. Very important. Okay, this sweat gland, excess of salt which will be produced in our body, it should not stay in the body. Okay, it will mix with the what you call it as the water contained in the cytoplasm. You know that it is also a semi-liquid like which contains water contained and other solid things are there. So this sweat, okay, gets collected near the sweat gland and it enters into the sweat gland, and what happens, this sweat gland is connected to the pores of our skin. So when the pores open, this sweat will move out in the form of what you call it as, it will move out in the form of salt water which comes out of our body. And that you know, in summer season we sweat very what you call it as the sweating rate is very fast in summer season. Why? Because the heat is which is there, the temperature in the summer rises, and due to the rise in the temperature, what happens, whatever the salt is there in the sweat gland starts evaporating more. Okay, and that is why the water content is lost more. So during summer season, so you have to drink water more, because the sweat which is in the form of water with salt content will be, okay, coming out of your body through the pores of the skin. Then is your liver. Liver is a very important organ which helps in the digestion. I told you it produces the bile salts. Okay, these bile salts are very important because whatever the stomach the stomach HCl is there, it has converted the food in acidic medium, and the fat part of the food cannot be digested in stomach. It should be digested in small intestine. So in small intestine, this food when it comes, so it is acidic in medium, and lipase is an enzyme which has to react with fats and convert it into what? Simple form. It can only do if it is in alkaline medium. So this bile salts will, what it will do? Convert the food which is in acidic medium into alkaline medium, and the fat product which is there in the food, they are in large molecules, so they will be broken into small molecules by this bile salt. And this bile salt, one more thing it does is, whatever the toxins which has entered through the food, that will be looked after by the bile salts. So it will remove that toxin, okay, that is which is in the form of unwanted waste. Then the large intestine, it's also a part of digestive system. The small intestine is connected with the large intestine, and we know that all the food cannot be digested. Some part of the food will be left out without digested. Okay, that is undigested food will be there in the large intestine. So what it will do when the food, that is the unwanted food, when it enters into large intestine, whatever the water content is there will be absorbed by the walls of the large intestine. So some solid part of the unwanted food will be left in the large intestine. Okay, that is called as bilirubin waste, because the bile salt which is there in the liver, when it enters into the small intestine and when it reacts with the food to digest the remaining part of the carbohydrate, remaining part of the protein and the lipase, it is brownish in color. That bile salts, because some toxins are there, will enter into will mix with the food, and that is called as bilirubin waste, which is brownish yellow in color. So this is regarding the other excretory organs which are present in our body. which are in our body excretion takes place. We have a specialized system which is called as excretory system. So which are the main components of excretory system? Pairs of kidney, pairs of ureters, urinary bladder and urethra. What are the pairs of kidney? Means we have two kidneys. Okay, pairs of ureter, both the kidneys are attached with a tube-like structure which will carry the unwanted waste for the disposal. So pairs of ureters is there. Urinary bladder, a bag-like or a pouch-like or a sac-like structure in which the unwanted waste is collected. Urethra, through which the unwanted waste is thrown out. So these are the important components of what we call it as excretory system in our human body. Kidney. So pairs of kidney. So first important part is the kidney. It is, if you see the shape of the kidney, it is in the shape of a bean. Where are they located? On the either side of the backbone. And this backbone protects the kidney along with the muscles. Then the structure of kidney. Okay, the structure of kidney in detail I will explain. So, I explained you regarding the kidney, its shape and all. And I told you the structure of kidney I will explain you. See, this is the kidney. Structure of kidney. See, this is the kidney. I told it is the shape of a bean. Can you see? It is in the shape of a bean. Okay. The main regions of kidney are the renal cortex, the renal medulla and the renal pelvis. See over here. This is the renal. What is dotted is the renal cortex. Then this, whatever you see, is the renal medulla. And this part, funnel-like part, whatever it is, the renal pelvis. Let us see one by one region. So, structure of kidney means kidney is divided into three important regions. Renal medulla, renal cortex and renal pelvis. Remember this, kidney is divided into three main regions. Renal medulla, renal cortex and renal pelvis. What is this renal medulla? It is the inner region. What it is? Inner. And whatever I told you, the kidney is the shape of a bean. It is like a capsule, hollow. And hollow part of the kidney, whatever is there inside, is containing renal medulla. So it is the inner region of the kidney, which is the renal medulla. You can see over here. See, I will show you the renal medulla, how it looks. It is in the shape of a pyramid with the, okay, this is what is your renal medulla. Fully you can see the renal medulla are interconnected with each other and they are surrounded with what you call it as the blood capillaries also. So this you can see it is the shape of a pyramid. So it is the inner region which is in the shape of the pyramid, and inside this you have a very, very important part which is called as nephron. And what are these nephron? Nephrons are the functional unit of kidney. Numerous nephrons are there. They are called as the functional unit of kidney. And what is the function of the renal medulla? What it will do? It will regulate the concentration of urine. That is, whether the urine should be concentrated or dilute. Okay, that is the, whatever the content is there. For acid, if you take concentration acid means the strength of the acid is more. Dilute acid means the strength of the acid is less. Similarly, whether the strength of the urine should be more or whether the strength of the urine should be dilute. So it regulates that concentration of urine. That is what the main, what to call it as function of renal medulla. So all these what pyramid shape you see, all are these renal medulla, and in each renal medulla numerous nephrons are there. And what are these nephrons? They are the functional unit of kidney. One mark question can be asked, or fill up the blanks can be asked. Dash is the functional unit of kidney, nephron. Okay, then which is the functional unit of kidney? Write the functional unit of kidney. Similarly in lungs, the functional unit of lungs is alveoli. Same in kidney also, the functional unit of kidney is nephron. So, what it is? Renal medulla. So, where is renal medulla situated? In the inner region of the kidney. Renal medulla is there. So, what shape it is? It is the shape of a pyramid. What does it contain? It contains numerous nephrons. What are nephrons? They are the functional unit of kidney. What is the function of renal medulla? To regulate the concentration of urine. Next is your renal cortex. Above the renal medulla, you have this outer, the dotted part what I have marked over here. This region is called as renal cortex. What it is called as? Renal. It is the outer region of the kidney. Very important. Inner region, outer region. And what does this renal cortex contains? It contains blood vessels. That is the what you call it as the capillaries. Then the arteries, veins. See, I have written over here renal artery and renal vein. These are there in the kidney because kidney also should get the blood. And you can see here renal artery and renal vein. Renal artery, they carry the oxygenated blood. Renal vein, they carry the deoxygenated blood. So the blood vessels which enters into the kidney, where they are found? They are found in the renal cortex. Then this, whatever the renal cortex which is there, you can see it is connected to the nephrons, because to the nephrons also the connection of the cortex should be there, because it is the outer region. So whatever the exchange or diffusion should take place in the outer region. So the cortex is connected with the nephrons. And what is its main function? It protects inner structure of kidney. Nephron, a very important, what you call it as a unit of kidney. So that should be protected. So this renal cortex protects the inner structure of the kidney. Last is your renal pelvis. Can you see here the funnel like? Okay, in the mouth of the kidney there is a funnel like. So this is called as the, what you call it as, renal pelvis. What it is? The upper end where the ureter is connected to the upper end of the kidney, that part. So this part, this whole funnel like you can see, this whole part is called as the renal pelvis. Its shape is like a funnel. What is its function? It will help the whatever the urine, which is the waste matter, liquid waste matter, it will help that urine to flow from kidney to the ureter. That is a very important function of renal pelvis. So, structure of kidney. So, into how many parts the kidney is divided? Main region, three main region: renal medulla, renal cortex, and renal pelvis. This, whatever you are seeing over here, the structures, it is called as renal medulla. Where they are, it is the inner region of the kidney is called as renal medulla. Of what it is made up of? It is made up of, its shape is like a pyramid. And inside that renal medulla, what are there? Number of functional unit of kidney is there, which is called as a nephron. What will this renal medulla do? Whatever the waste matter which is collected in a liquid form, that waste matter, it will see that whether the concentration of that urine is correct or not, that is regulated by this renal medulla. Then above this renal medulla, there is the outer region, you have the cortex. Whatever this dotted part I have drawn, that is called as the cortex. So it is the outer region of the kidney. What does it has? See over here, renal artery and renal vein. It will enter into that, it is the blood vessels, everything will enter into the cortex. So it contains the blood vessels. And one more important thing it is also connected with nephrons. So the cortex is connected with the nephrons also. Okay. Then what is its function? Whatever the inside the kidney, whatever the delicate parts are there, which are very important, it is protected by the renal cortex. Third and the last region of kidney is the renal pelvis. It is what it is? enlarged upper, this is the ureter, and this is the enlarged upper part. You can see it is in shape of, this is the shape of a funnel. It is in the shape of a funnel like this, and that is what we call it as a renal pelvis. It will do whatever in the renal medulla and the renal cortex, whatever the unwanted wastes are there, which will be converted into liquid form. It will collect and it will make to flow into the ureter. From ureter, it can be thrown out. These are the important structure of kidney. But in renal medulla, I told you regarding the nephron. So I will explain in the nephron what is meant by nephron and what are the different parts in nephron, that I will teach you regarding the nephron. These are the three important parts, and I have told you the function of each part. But now we are going to study in detail regarding the nephron. Okay. Nephron is divided into two major regions, glomerulus and renal tubule. What are the regions? Glomerulus and renal tubule. Glomerulus, what it is? It acts like a microscopic filter. See, microscopic, any minute thing will be filtered by it. It won't allow anything to pass through it. That is microscopic filter. And what it filters, you know, it filters the blood. Okay, very important. See, in a circulatory system we saw that from the lungs to the heart to the lungs, how there the circulation takes place. Here also the same thing takes place. Some of the unwanted substances which are there in the blood, part of it will be filtered in the kidney itself only. So it will do filtering the blood. And when it filters, for example, if we take the coffee, you boil the water, add the coffee powder, and you keep it for some time, and what you do, you take a strainer to strain it. So what will happen? Only the liquid part will fall down, and whatever that coffee particles are will stay up. So the liquid part which has fallen down, that is called as the filtrate. So whatever is needed, it is filtered. So this filtrate, what does it contain? Water, glucose, salt and urea. In that, water and glucose are very important. Urea is an unwanted substance. Later when it passes through other parts, that will also get what you call it as a thrown out of the body. So this is what a glomerulus. It is a microscopic filter. Here you can see a cup shaped. I have drawn this part. It is called as glomerulus. Came to know. And inside I have drawn network. It is nothing but it is a bunch of capillaries connected with each other, and in that what is flowing? Blood is flowing, and this blood will get filtered there, and whatever the filtrate after filtering is there, that is water, glucose, salt and urea, that is passed through. The second part of the glomerulus, you can see here opening this tube-like structure is there. This whole tube-like structure is called as renal tubule. What is called as renal. So glomerulus is connected with the renal tubule. So whatever the filtrate is there will pass through this renal tubule. Got it up? So renal tubule is what? It is a part of a nephron. So nephron, glomerulus and renal tubule. Glomerulus at the end of the cup shape, you can see this ends the glomerulus, and here the renal tubule starts. So what it is a part of a nephron. And what happens? Whatever the filtrate which is collected in the glomerulus will pass to the renal tubule. So renal tubule, what it will do? It will help the glomerulus to pass what you call it as the filtrate. So it will pass through the renal tubule, the filtrate will pass. Further I have written something over here. The renal tubule further is divided into three main regions. Look over here. The starting part of the renal tubule, it is called proximal convoluted tubule. So renal tubule is again divided into three. This is a thin walled what is called tubule, which is called proximal convoluted tubule, because in each part different substances will be filtered, and the unwanted last, whatever is will be there, that will be thrown out to the last part of the renal tubule. So this first part, whatever you are seeing till here, this whole part, it is called proximal convoluted tubule. What it will do, whatever the water, glucose, salt and urea, I told you, was filtered, it has to pass through the tubule. It will reabsorb. Water is very important. It will reabsorb water, it will reabsorb glucose, it will reabsorb amino acid. Amino acid is what? The simple form of the protein. Glucose is what? The simple form of the carbohydrate, water. This is needed, so it absorbs. So what it left out? Salt and urea. This unwanted thing. It won't absorb it. It will further pass. So then what it does? It has the capacity to secrete. It secretes ammonia and creatinine. Creatinine is very important for, in the kidney, an important content in the kidney. So it secretes ammonium and creatinine. So that is what you call it as the proximal tubules. What a function. So the starting part of the renal tubule, it is called as a proximal convoluted tubule. The filtrate will pass through this convoluted tubule. Glucose, amino acid, water which is needed will be absorbed by this tubule. Salt and urea won't be absorbed. It will move further, and it also secretes ammonium and creatinine, which is further needed. That is what the function of proximal convoluted tubule. Next, you can see here a loop. This loop is called loop of Henle. It is little bit thick walled. This is thin walled, and this is a little thick walled, which is that loop of Henle. What this loop of Henle will do? Some part of the water which is left out, which cannot be absorbed by the proximal convoluted tubule, the loop of Henle will reabsorb. What it will reabsorb? The water. And ammonium, what was secreted by the proximal convoluted tubule, it will be reabsorbed by the loop of Henle. And then sodium and chloride. Whatever the thing is present, that will be reabsorbed by loop of Henle. That is the work of the loop of Henle. So till here the loop of Henle is there. From here, whatever the part comes, it is called as the collecting tubules. The word itself, collecting means what? To collect. So collecting tubules. What these tubules will do? All the sodium won't be absorbed by loop of Henle. So whatever the remaining sodium is, that will be reabsorbed by the collecting tubules, and the water also reabsorbed, and it also secretes ammonium, sodium and potassium, which is very important, needed for our body's cells. So that is secreted by the collecting tubules. So this is what regarding the nephron. So once again I will tell you what is nephron. Nephron is a functional unit of kidney. Where it is present? It is present in the renal medulla. How it is that nephron? Here I have shown. Nephron can be largely divided into two, parts. The cup-shaped, it is the upper part of that nephron is called as a glomerulus, and tube-like structure, whatever you see, is called as a renal tubule. So it is divided into two, glomerulus and renal tubule. What is this glomerulus? It is a cup-shaped, part which has large number of network of blood capillaries, and it is a microscopic filter. Very important. When the blood flows through the glomerulus, through the blood capillaries, it filters the blood. And what does the filtrate contains? So the unwanted thing, what is there? So that is it is filtered by the glomerulus, and the filtrate contains water, glucose, salt and urea. In that, water and glucose is very important, which will be further reabsorbed by the renal tubule. And The cup shape starts with a tube-like structure. This whole structure is called as the renal tubule. But further, according to the property of the tubules, it is divided into three major parts: proximal convoluted tubule, loop of Henle, and collecting tubules. The starting part is called the proximal convoluted tubule. So whatever the glucose was there in the filtrate, whatever the water was there in the filtrate, and whatever amino acid is in the blood, that is absorbed by the walls of the proximal convoluted tubules, and it secretes ammonium and creatinine. Then further you can see a loop-like structure which is called as loop of Henle. It will, whatever the water content still left out in the blood will be absorbed by the loop of Henle, and it also the sodium, ammonium and chloride is absorbed by the loop of Henle. Then this loop of Henle will open up into till here. This is here that your collecting tubules will start. So what happens that whatever the thing which is remaining will flow into the collecting tubules. It will also reabsorb the sodium and water. It secretes ammonium, sodium and potassium. So after the collecting tubules, what will happen? These collecting tubules will be connected to the ureters. From the ureters it will pass to the urinary bladder. From the urinary bladder it will pass to the urethra. That is how the whatever the unwanted things in the form of liquid containing urea, uric acid, ammonia will pass through the urethra, and that is what the called as excretory system in what it is excretory system in human. I erase this just to show that is only three parts are left out, that is this convoluted or the collecting tubules. The collecting tubules are connected with the ureters. Two kidneys are there, so there are how many ureters? Two ureters are there. Two kidneys are there. From each kidney this tube will starts. Okay, and from the ureters whatever the unwanted waste in form of fluid containing urea, salt, uric acid, etc. flows. This ureters will open up. Okay, suppose if I take, this is a kidney. So from here, like this. This is the ureter. Okay, and here you will find what is there? A pouch is there. A bag-like structure is there. Which here another ureter. And here a bag-like structure is there. Okay, this is called as your urinary bladder, and the opening over here is called as a urethra. So came to know. So this is your what we call it as ureters. So that is the collecting tubule will end. From there your ureter will start, and whatever the liquid unwanted thing will pass through this, enter into the urinary bladder. Urinary bladder is connected with the nerves. So when urinary bladder is full, that nerves will send a message to the brain, and the brain will send again back the message that the urinary bladder should be emptied, and through the urethra what happens? The urine passes. So this is what the excretory system in human beings. So collecting tubules is the last part of your renal tubule. The collecting tubule is connected with the ureters. How many ureters are there? Two kidneys, two ureters. Easily that whatever the unwanted waste in the form of fluid containing urea, salt, uric acid, ammonia, etc. So many things are there in that. It will flow through the ureter, enter into the urinary bladder. It is a pouch, elastic bag. So the urine starts collecting in this. And this urinary bladder is connected with the nerves. So the nerves will send a signal to the brain that the urinary bladder is full, then the brain will send back, and what will happen? From the urinary bladder, the urine is passed through urethra. This is the excretory system in human being. So your life process ends over here. So the lesson life process I have completed. So goodbye children. Thank you children.